Hello, and welcome to the Empowerography Podcast. This is a platform created for women's voices to be heard and a place to share their stories, journeys, and successes with the world for the purpose of helping other women who might be on similar journeys. We are empowering women one episode at a time. I'm your host, Brad Walsh, so kick back, grab one of your favorite beverages, and enjoy the stories. Hello, everyone. Brad Walsh here, host of your Empowerography Podcast. Today, my guest is Sarah Oliphant. She is the owner, founder of Oliphant Studios based in Brooklyn, New York. How you doing this morning, Sarah?
I'm good.
Great to have you here today. Thank you for agreeing to be part of the show.
Of course, it's my pleasure.
So you started Oliphant Studios back in 1978. Are you a self-taught painter, or did you take lessons or go to school to learn the craft?
I was identified. I'm like really, in some ways, really, because I was born in 1951 in a little town called Chester, South Carolina. It had like 7,000 people, a little cotton mill town. And my mother identified me early as an artist. I had like an ability, hand-eye coordination. I could, copy, I could draw. And basically, I'm just like super attention deficit and definitely different from every person in my family, certainly. And by doing that, by identifying me as an artist, it basically saved my life, because instead of, why is Sarah weird? Why didn't she act like all these other upper middle class Southern people in this town? Why she can't clean her room? Is she late? I was just an artist. And that was vital for me, because I also started taking art lessons. A recent widow who needed some extra money, who'd been actually trained in New York. Her name was Lois Bryce, and she was one of the people that I would say one of the most valuable people in my life. When I was in the second grade, I started taking art lessons every week. Wow. Every one day a week until I graduated from high school. Sometimes I'd be the only person in the class. Sometimes there'd be a couple of other people.
Yeah.
I would go for 2 or 3 hours after school. And so I started early, and we did everything. I worked with every medium. We'd go sketch outside. But the thing that it taught me was it was that the concept of practice is that it's the doing of it. That I didn't have a choice. There are many times I would have rather not gone to art. I would have, but I didn't. And I didn't have a choice, and that not having a choice meant that it became part of my. I don't know exactly how to describe it, but it changed the way I thought about it. I just did it all the time, like practicing the piano,
right?
And which I could not do. No amount of Ritalin could get me to practice a piano, but which I didn't even have back then. But.
So, Sarah, when you started Oliphant Studios, did you start out with the intention of painting backdrops for photographers and film sets, etc., or did the business evolve into what it's become today?
What happened is I was working as a scenic artist in the theater, and it was really, I was off Broadway. I mean, I was making like $50 a week, working as an office temp, and I just thought, this is crazy. I have to figure something out. And I met through a weird circumstance, I met a photographer's assistant who said, oh yeah, my boss, his name was Michel Cherevkov, the photographer. He had been an assistant to Pete Turner, who was a still life photographer in the 60s and 70s, a really amazing photographer. And he said he sometimes needs realistic. This is before digital,
Right.
So realistic skies, sets, and so I took my little theater portfolio, and I met this guy, Michelle Trepkov, and he asked me to paint a realistic sky for him. I didn't know really anything about photography, and so he said, can you do an airbrush sky for me? And so, of course, I said, sure. I didn't even know what an airbrush was. And, so I think I borrowed $100, bought an airbrush, got a little compressor in my railroad flat down on the Lower East Side, put up a piece of masonite and did this little sky. And I remember thinking, as I was doing it, that I really couldn't fuck this up. I had no amount of wanting to give up or not. I knew that I knew this was an opportunity, that I was good at this kind of stuff because I have one of my special skills is that I can copy really well.
Right.
I can copy from any scale, from tiny to big. It doesn't make you an artist. It's just some weird like hand-eye coordination. But I wasn't going to mess this up. And I did the sky for him. It worked out perfectly behind, I think he was shooting for some diamond ring. It was like a field of, it was all tabletop. So it was pretty small.
Yeah.
And it was a field of tulips and then a blue sky behind it. And so then I did one job after another for him. Still working off and on in the theater. Yeah. But mostly then I just started painting these backdrops for this one photographer.
Okay.
And then I had an epiphany. I did a job for somebody else and painted, that famous photograph of VE Day, where the nurse and the sailor are kissing in Times Square.
Yep.
Somebody wanted to reproduce that, and they wanted me to paint that Times Square shot. It was pretty. It doesn't seem big to me now, but at the time it was pretty big, like an 8-foot painting, and very realistic with an airbrush, tiny. The buildings. I worked on that thing. It was beautiful, and so took it to the photographer. They shot it, and I was talking to the art director, and he said, this is mine because I bought it, but I want to give you a little. I'm going to put it in my beach house, whatever. He said, I'm just going to give you a little piece of advice. You don't have to give the backdrops to the photographer. You're painting exactly what they want, and they're using it, and then you get the drop back. So it was like an epiphany. I started getting my drops back, and then I was able to build rental stock, and then with rental stock, then I was able to get a bigger studio because I was just renting the drops. And so it was organic. I did not start out like have an idea like, I'm going to be a backdrop painter.
Right.
It in many ways, it worked. Look, I have some jobs that I've hated. They were just like a nightmare. They were really hard, but it really is the perfect job for me because I'm always collaborating. Right. I'm always, even if I'm painting drops, literally just because we have a little store now we're setting up because smaller drops, and even if I'm just doing a series for that, it's still the same. And I'm not working for an individual where I've had a phone conversation, it's like I'm collaborating. I'm knowing, okay, I have my ideas. Okay, this could be used for this or whatever, but it's just this. It's the idea of doing it with someone that works for me.
Okay.
And even the drops that are in stock, we have like 3,000 backdrops that are rentals, and I love thinking of them all down there, knowing how much history has been. Some drops have been used like 1,000 times. It's just this like idea that they have their own life. Yeah. I know. Yeah. That sounds stupid. I know, but
no, not at all. It's interesting. I love it.
I like knowing that I'm giving you a backdrop, and and it's going to have its own life.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's amazing. Now, you've created backdrops for some photography legends at your studio. Is most of your clientele the elite, shall we say, of the photography world, or is it
back in the day when it started? Yeah, because there was no social media. I was like a secret, not kept secret, but just But no, I've been incredibly fortunate and have learned an enormous amount from working with the best photographers in the world. I mean, I can't even think of a photographer that I haven't. When I say best, I'm saying most famous.
Yeah.
Leibowitz, of course, comes to mind instantly. And but she's been instrumental in my career also because I learned an enormous amount from her. There was a lot of collaboration, and also Leibowitz gave me enormous freedom. And I've worked for other great photographers, and I will be eternally grateful. But I work now probably more for people just starting out, or people who have a second career, or have been working in their communities, well known, but now elevating certain aspects of it. And I take it is just as exciting to me to know this photographer from, let's just say, my little hometown in South Carolina. The town photographer is like using my backdrop. Do you understand what that means? Like, I know in this little town in wherever, Idaho, South Carolina, Minnesota, their photographs going on people's walls of their, and it's my backdrop's on there. It's like, I don't know how to explain it. It makes me as happy to know that as it does to see it on the cover of Vanity Fair. And that's the truth.
Well, I think it's like, even for photographers, I mean, to know that their art that they've created with their clients, or if it's a landscape shot or an architecture shot or whatever the case may be, and someone has purchased that image, and to know that that is going on someone's wall, something you created, I guess it's just like that for you. I mean,
it's exactly like that for me.
It is an incredible feeling.
Is that mine is a collaboration.
Yeah.
It's not my art, it's my contribution.
Yes, to the art.
Yeah, to the art. Exactly. Yeah. Like, I don't think of it, our backdrops are not the it. They're the behind the it. They're helping to create the it. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. 100%.
That doesn't devalue them in my mind at all. I'm not. No. I prefer it. I prefer it.
Yeah. Now, is most of your client base in the U.S. or is it worldwide?
We're pretty much worldwide now. Once social media really became, so whatever.
Explosive.
Explosive, exactly. I was trying to think of the right word. We're no longer a secret. You can Google. Anybody can, Google who paints Leibowitz's drops, who paints DeMarchellier's drop, whoever, and see who it is, and then it's easy to find out where they come from. And so now we paint for all over the world, and we just ship them out, so.
Amazing.
That's been super exciting and beautiful,
I'm sure it has. I can't even imagine how it must have felt to sell your first backdrop outside of the United States or outside of North America. I mean, it's got to be incredible.
Well, it's that whole thing where it's like, I don't think of it as a personal achievement. I think of it as an organic, like it's like something alive. It means my business is what I do is there's a purpose to it.
Yeah.
It feels, look, I'm not painting it for free. I'm not.
Of course.
Of course, I'm doing it as a business. I'm doing it to make money.
Yeah.
But for me, and this has been one of the problems in my life, I'm not motivated by money. And
Right.
so I learned early on. I mean, I'm actually not motivated by money, and
Mm-hmm.
it's a problem when you have a business in New York City. So I've given that over. Like, I learned early if I wanted to stay in business, because I have to have such a huge studio, because our commercial work is huge,
Mm-hmm.
8 by 60-foot backdrops. I mean, who knows if we'll ever do that again, but, eventually, there'll be events again. And I do like working large, but I knew early that I had to have someone else deal with money. I knew that early, and I give that over. I'm actually not even allowed to talk about money. Sometimes I think the studio is like wired, because I'll mention something. I'll be on a phone call with a consultation, and I'll mention the word something about money, and suddenly I'll hear my name over the intercom. Sarah, could you come in the office, please? I'm like, fuck.
I'm in trouble again. Damn it.
Exactly. It takes me right back to middle school. And so if the word money is mentioned, I have to say, oh, I'll just let you talk to Luna Margot.
I don't deal with money. That's nothing to do with me. I'm just a painter.
Because I would actually, when I win the lottery, I'm just going to paint for free.
There you go.
No, I just have to play the lottery.
That's right. That's right. You don't play if you're not going to win if you don't play.
Well, you're not going to win even if you do play. But
so, how many painters do you have that work with you for you?
Basically, I do for the backdrops. I'm the painter. I mean, I paint everybody's backdrop. I paint, but I have Tanisha, who is one of my assistants, and Tanisha's from India, but her mother was my assistant 40 years ago.
Oh, wow.
So she showed up. She's a fabulous assistant. She prepares drops, gets them ready for me, gessos them, takes care of painting. And my daughter, Violet, she's my main painting assistant, when we're working together, she's an excellent backdrop painter. But I would say pretty much if we are doing a giant commercial job, like for Fashion Week or then I have like a whole list of freelance people. Fashion Week, we generally have, 5 or 6 freelance people working. But once again, we'll see what happens with Fashion Week.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but I would say 99.9% of all the millions of backdrops I have, I've painted.
Okay. Now, where did you have your first studio when you first started the business, and how big was your space?
So I had a summertime sublet that I did when I first started, just for a month or so, and then I got my studio at Union Square. It was 1,200 square feet. It was right below Warhol's factory. His factory was on the 6th floor.
Yeah.
He had already moved over across the street when we got there, but it was the 5th floor, and it was a commercial space, and I lived and worked there, and that was right at the period of time when the city began to really change. Soho, where all these artists had been living, suddenly, artists move into it was a terrible building, falling apart, no elevator. It was crazy, but we were able to fall under the loft law, so it became rent stabilized.
Okay.
And it's actually where I live now, my home, but it wasn't really big enough. 1,200 square feet is not really big enough. So then I moved over to Cooper Square. Okay. And I've only had a few studios, 4 altogether.
Yeah.
And we've been, I was on 20th Street and 5th Avenue for 23 years. And at one point when we were at that studio, we had 7 children under the age of 6 years old there every day.
Wow.
It was insane. It was fucking insane. It was crazy land.
I'm sure it was. I can only imagine.
Only 2 of them were mine, but
A daycare and a studio.
oh,
Jesus.
crazy. It's crazy. And also so exciting. You know, sometimes I think we had lots of pictures of them on the outside of our door, and when I'd be standing thinking, oh, I'm about to get murdered because it'd be late at night and be alone. And I'd look at the door and see all those children and think, it's okay. If I get murdered, it's okay because I've had that.
Yeah.
I've had this in my life.
Incredible. How do you approach your work? What's your process when painting a backdrop?
So if it's a classic portrait drop, there's a different process if I'm doing commercial work.
Right.
Sometimes it's realistic or it's patterns or it's like, whatever, working from somebody's rendering. But if we're talking about just a classic portrait drop, which is what a lot of, I'd say, certainly what we're doing now. Generally, I like to talk to the person I'm painting it for.
Right.
Like I said, we do now. I'm doing a lot of small drops that we're just putting them in our store, and then people can buy them outright. Because a lot of people are afraid of this conversation, which I don't know why. Because I'm like not a very intimidating person, but I like to have a conversation. So somebody calls, and they'll first they set it up with Moon and Margot what they want, and then we have an appointment. We talk on the phone, and I go through it with them on the phone. I'd say, okay, you want a 8x12? It's let's just say an aged gray. But I need to get a feeling. I mean, sometimes they'll send me a photograph, and they want that exactly, even if the drop the way it looks in the photograph, and that's fine. Then that's that. But I like to so like it has layers of history or beautiful or grungy or sometimes I just need an adjective like faded, and that's really helpful. But mostly people send photo reference of sometimes it's combinations. They want the color of this, the texture of that.
Yeah.
We talk it through. We talk about how dark it is, whether they want a vignette, there's like 6 or 7 different things that make up a backdrop. And then I give it my best shot. We send them photographs and we, make alterations if necessary. But I would say we have a pretty good rate. Sometimes it's not right and it has to be sent back to me and I have to fix it. But I have like 95%, I think, have been successful. Sometimes I'm working on a backdrop and I just can't get it. And so I just start over.
Yeah.
But, it's always, I still feel after even tens of thousands of drops every time. I used to think it was because I wasn't really very smart, because I forget each time. And it's like I've never painted the backdrop before. I always have that like slight panic.
Really?
Always.
Wow.
Every time. And
I'm surprised to hear that.
Every time I think, fuck, am I going to get this? Is this right? Is this all right? And but I think it's helpful because it makes it, it makes it new.
Yeah, yeah. Now, do most people that call you, do they know what they want, or is it more?
Most people really have a good idea what they want.
Okay.
And there are people who don't, and I will try to talk them through it. Like one of my big things is like it's because the thing is that these drops are, they're for some people they're really expensive, and people have sacrificed to get one, and so it is. Even though it's very American and really a crass saying, I want to give them the most bang for their buck.
For sure.
If I can give them a drop that's useful, and this I really stand by, and it's every time you use your backdrop, even if you're shooting your neighbor's friend's headshot, whatever, charge a little bit for it. The same way you would charge if you had to rent a piece of equipment,
Yeah.
you would say, okay, this is my fee, or I'm doing this for free, but you have to pay for the, even if you charge $25, I don't care. Like you use your backdrop, you charge them for it. It will pay for itself.
Yeah.
And then you can get another one. It's like it's a piece of equipment, but it's an expensive piece of equipment, and you need to bill people for it. But
it's an investment.
It's an investment, and I want to give people, if they're unclear what they want, I talk to them a little bit about what kind of photography they do. They often have an idea of other people's backdrops, particularly famous people, and or they've seen a neighbor who got a backdrop, and mostly I do this thing where I say, okay, in your mind's eye, when you just think of a backdrop, what do you see? And generally it's a warm gray. I think a warm gray with some history is it's classic.
Yeah.
Some people they want purple, or they want, whatever. And I find it all very interesting. The hardest thing for me, and it doesn't mean I don't do it, and is when people want something exactly like something else. Then I'm like instantly frozen, because I've lost that little bit of give where you can have accidents happen. Yeah, which I find to be very important.
If you had to guess, how many backdrops would you say you have painted since you started the business? Just a rough. I'd love to know this number. Just a rough guess.
God, I thought of this when I was reading over your questions. Like 50,000.
Wow.
I don't know, 30,000, in the tens of thousands.
Where do you pull your inspiration from when painting a backdrop?
Early days, it was working with these early photographers, and we were looking at Irving Penn. In fact, we used to call our drops when I first started, but Irving Penns, because we would use his. And then, of course, we quickly realized we couldn't call them Irving Penns, so we changed it to models. But looking at the old photographers, like Penn did a lot of his. He had these sort of like dirty pieces of canvas that they were barely painted, and then when he would print his stuff, he would alter it and sort of dodge and burn, sort of created his backdrops in the whole printing process. But I looked at any model drop, and then through years of experimentation and that panic-stricken middle of the night trying to get something done. So the inspiration is now, I'd say it comes from the energy of the person I'm painting it for. I look at what they want, and remember, I've been doing it so long, I know what's useful. I'm doing it, and then I do like a lot of crazy things. There are backdrops down in our storage area that are so beautiful, but have never been rented. They're almost 50 years old. Took forever. They're gorgeous, but they're just too odd. I always feel sorry for them down there alone, watching all the neighbors be rented and never being rented. Hey, I'm going to do a photo shoot with all the drops that never rented.
Yeah, there you go. Now, speaking of rentals, you rent backdrops as part of your business model. Does that make up a significant part of the revenue of the business, or is it more based on sales?
It's actually more on sales. Right now, of course, we don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
I would say before the pandemic, it was maybe 25%, 20%, maybe not even that much. Okay.
Now, you said you paint 99.9% of them. Do you oversee all the custom orders that come in? Because most of your orders would be custom, right?
Yeah, so I paint all the portrait drops. Generally, I paint. And if it's a commercial job, like flower pattern, or I'm the only one that can really do the super photorealistic stuff, because I use guns and airbrush. It's just my whatever. It's just my little special talent. But But if we're doing commercial jobs, and I'll have as many people as I need working on them, and of course I'd oversee it.
Yeah.
Like, I oversee it. My daughter Violet is an excellent painter, is an excellent backdrop painter, I will say. She's done some backdrops that I thought, wow, I wish I could have done that beautifully. But in general, I'm always involved.
Okay. What's the most exciting or interesting part of your business for you?
Well, I will admit, and it's different from doing portrait drops, I do love a crazy challenge where, there's some giant event and they need, like Marc Jacobs wants, a 20 by 300 foot long, living room scene. I like getting these jobs that people think you can't possibly do that in a week. That is super exciting to me.
Okay.
So that is most exciting.
You welcome the challenges.
Oh my God, I love it. Where your heart in your throat and you think there's no way, and then you can do it.
What would you say is the most frustrating or challenging part of your business?
Oh, I don't like the money part.
As we alluded to earlier.
The bookkeeping-ish part of it I despise. I don't really like telling. I mean, I have to tell people what to do. I don't like being like the mother, that at all. And that happens when you have a lot of people working, but mostly it's a business end of it. It's like immediately takes me out of my zone. But I still have to do it. I can pass a lot of it off, but not all of it.
Yeah. What do you think is your unique skill set or superpower that's helped you become successful?
I think it's that I am willing to work harder than other people. It's not that I'm so talented. There are a lot of people who are way better painters than me, but they're not willing to work as hard. I will work until it's better than I thought it could be. It's like I will redo it. I think that's really the secret, is that I'm not the best painter, but there are very few people who will work as hard as me.
Your work ethic, yeah. Okay. So, Sarah, what are some of the challenges you faced early on, and how did you overcome them?
Oh, that's interesting. You mean in terms of business?
Yeah, in terms of the business.
Well, the biggest problem with my business is that we have to have such a big space.
Right.
So New York City, the overhead is just insane. And so that, because a lot of our work is advertising based, you never knew what was going to happen. So you'd get a bigger space because you were doing well. And then, the markets would crash and suddenly you'd think, yikes.
Yeah.
I'm not a very pessimistic person. I always feel like I'm just going to work hard and everything is going to be okay. And in general, it has been. I'm trying to think what other, besides the normal, the thing about my business is that I didn't start with any money at all. So it started from, there was the organic aspect of it. And I still use that as my model for my business, is that we organically evolve. It's like,
right.
Suddenly I don't sit in meetings and think, oh, we could do this. Let's give, based on our research. It's like we just follow where we're led. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I'm trying to think problems or different challenges. Having children and working, those challenges, but they're not any different from challenges that any working mother has. And
true.
I can't even answer that question. I don't really, because it's just, things have just evolved.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair. No problem. So let's go down a not so serious route. Let's talk a bit about you, just on the personal side. Let people get to know a little bit about who you are. So I've got some very simple, straightforward questions for you. What sound or noise do you absolutely love?
Okay, I know it's really fucked up. I love the sound of the compressor because I know it means like something's happening.
Yeah. Okay. What is one of your favorite words?
This is really stupid too, but that it's triggered everywhere. It can be anywhere. That when you hear that, Mom.
Yeah.
The way that all children is universal.
Yeah.
Mom. I love it. I mean, it's also a horrible word. You want to then I think, God, if I'd gotten my dogs first, I wouldn't have had the damn children. But I do love that. I do love that the sound of that word in that intonation. That Mom.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I need you.
Exactly.
What is one of your favorite curse words?
Oh my God, there's too many to even. There's no curse word that I don't love.
You love them all equally.
I love them all equally. They're beautiful things. I try every day to use as many as I can.
I love it. What is a passion of yours that you rarely share with other people, and why not?
My daughter's in here. Violet, what's a passion of mine that I rarely share with other people? I tried to think of that.
Putting on hiking boots.
Oh, yes. I love buying hiking boots.
Okay.
Yeah. That's really, it's like I look at them, I'll spend an inordinate amount of time online looking at hiking boots.
Yeah.
I also like looking at people's pictures of their children.
All right. What is something people seem to misunderstand about you?
Well, most people think I'm like an extrovert because, I'm friendly and I curse and all, what you see is what you get.
Yeah.
But I love having people come to my studio. I love anything work related or like people's children and their dogs, but I'm not really a social person. I don't like going to restaurants. I never going to a party or a wedding. I literally feel like I need to be drugged to be able to do it. It's really painful. I'm uncomfortable. I don't like being out of my painting clothes. I feel awkward.
Yeah.
That is people do see me and meet me in my studio think I'm a different person than I probably really am.
But I'm sure you must get invites, like you do stuff for Fashion Week and all. You must get a ton of invites to events and things, no?
No, I just like the doing of it. I would never go to it. I mean, I'd rather have a root canal than go to a fashion show. I'm not kidding. No, I don't. People after a while, remember we're still we're still backdoor people, the backdrop painter, you're not, it's different.
Yeah. Okay. What makes you feel inspired or like your best self?
I really like being in the woods, being I mean, it sounds so predictable, but I do like being out in nature and especially extreme nature, snowstorms, rainstorms, it's, it makes me feel alive.
Okay. What was a turning point in your life and how did that affect you?
That's interesting. I forgot about that question. I didn't know the answer to it when I read it. Turning point in my life. Probably it seems like.
We can skip that one, Sarah, if you don't.
No, I'm really trying to think for a second. I think, I don't know. A turning point. In some ways, it was when I started my business, because I couldn't, or maybe when I went to graduate school in the theater, and I found that it was being a collab. That was it, probably.
Yeah.
When I discovered that it was collaboration, because I couldn't grab hold of just being an artist. I was floundering in that way that many young people do, but it was collaboration.
Okay. All right. What does the word empowerment mean to you?
I think it means being okay in your own mind, like the ability to be okay with it, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like, okay, this is happening, or I'm doing this, whether it's, I don't know, anything you do, and just being okay with it. It's not like you need to be doing something else, or it's not as good as something else, or it's that this is it. This is whatever it is. It being in the moment is okay.
Okay. Who are three of the most influential people in your life?
I'd definitely say Lois Bryce, my art teacher from childhood. Who, I had a professor in college who that I ended up having a relationship with him later for a couple of years, named Terry Bennett. He's dead now, but he was an amazing artist, and he's the one that taught me that productivity leads to productivity, that work ethic is everything, and that the doing of it is what's important, and that sitting around waiting for it is not, even if you're doing it for free, it's the doing of it that matters, because productivity leads to productivity. Okay. And then I guess my other third person I would have to say is my grandmother, who actually lived in 3 centuries. She was born in 1898 and she died in 2001. And she was 102. So she was an amazing person. She was a businesswoman pretty much up until she died, successful.
Amazing.
Her husband died when she was, I guess, in her late 40s, and she didn't remarry, but she was amazing.
Okay. How would you like to be remembered?
I'd like to be remembered as an artist who was kind to children and loved dogs.
I love it. Simple and yeah. What makes you smile?
Well, human beings, they kill me. I love them. Once again, children and animals.
Yeah.
Definitely make me smile.
If you were to have a dinner party and had to invite a musician, a politician, a famous couple, and a family member, who would you invite?
Okay. That one too. But does the musician have to be alive?
No.
Okay, good. So I'm going to invite Doris Day. I loved Doris Day when I was a child. I always wanted to be there. Doris Day, the Obamas. I think I'd like to have dinner with Jimmy Carter.
Yeah.
And family member, my brother Alec, my baby brother.
Okay.
He lives in South Carolina. He's amazing.
Excellent.
Alec, we call him. Alec. A-L-E-X, but it's Alec.
Are you guys close?
Yes, I love him.
Yeah. Is he your only sibling?
No, I have a sister who I adore, and my younger sister, she's an angel. She's not like me at all. And I have an older brother.
Okay.
I'm so close to.
If you were guaranteed the correct answer to one question, what question would you ask?
Oh God, I remember I had an answer for this. Now I've already forgotten it. Damn. Obviously, I was going to get that answer wrong.
We can come back to that one.
No, I know what it was, but no. There was a logical. It's like immediately there was a one people always think of, but then I thought, no, that's actually, I never really spend any time. Like when you think of, what happens after you die? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really think it's lights out. But,
yeah.
I mean, that's kind of what I hope, but I'm curious to know about reincarnation.
Okay.
But I'm not a religious person, so I'm not a.
Me neither. I'm like, I think it's lights out. That's it.
And that's okay. Over. That's okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Game over, lights out.
Yeah.
Well, you don't want to fuck it up while you're here.
That's right.
I would like it to be. I would like to have made to be a kinder world, to be a better place.
Yes.
By my actions. I mean, in that sense. I follow every Christian. I'm not a Christian, but every Christian tenet, I try to follow them, to be every day. I try to be a better person.
Yeah, that's it. That's all we can do. As long as you're doing that in life, you're okay. To what extent do you think that you shape your own destiny, and how much is up to fate?
Did you just make that question up? How come I don't remember that question either?
No, I'm not making them up.
I think there's an enormous amount of chance it happens to people, but I do feel like there's a point where it's hard when you're younger, but where you realize this is what you've got, and this is what's happening, and you really want to give it your best shot. I mean, everybody's tired. Sometimes there are days when I can barely function, but in general, you have to be ready when the opportunity comes to not blow it. Figure out what it is that you're good at. Well, it doesn't have to be like things that are even going to make you money, but and try to find ways to do that. Mm-hmm. So there's really no such thing as destiny.
Okay.
There's just hard work and a little bit of luck.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. What would you say is the best advice you've ever received?
I think I talked about it, where Terry Bennett said productivity leads to productivity.
Yeah. Okay.
You just need to do it.
Yeah. How do you define success? What does that word mean to you, Sarah?
No, that's interesting. God, I can read these questions very well. I don't think it certainly doesn't mean what money's in my bank account. That's for sure. Mm-hmm. It's this feeling of having, through my own hard work, created this work that these. God, let me see if I can put it in words. Sure. I can feel it. I just don't know how to say it.
Yeah, that's okay. Take your time.
Having like the same way people feel like they've had these children, they've done well, or they've sent, nice human beings out into the world. I feel like I'm successful in that I had this idea, and with my hard work, I've been able to produce a body of work that goes out in the world, and that's been successful for me.
Okay.
That the doing of it, my concept of productivity has worked.
I love it. Very simple and to the point. That's it. It's not monetary.
It's not for me. I wish it was.
Not me either.
Certainly not.
No. If you could go back and give your younger self one piece of advice, what would that piece of advice be?
Basically, get out of bed and start and just start doing it.
Yeah.
That action is important. That when you're down or you're feeling depressed, which confusion, I went through a really bad time. My mother died when I was young. We had a lot of terrible things happen. I'm not saying that there wasn't a reason for me to go through difficult times, but you still have to find a way to make action happen. You have to, whatever it is, even if it's like weeding your garden, you've got to move forward.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I would say.
Okay. And if you were to deliver your last 30-second speech to the world, what would that 30 seconds sound like? It doesn't have to be exactly 30 seconds, but what would your last speech say?
Probably say, okay, come on, let's get up and do it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, let's just go do it. Whatever it is, let's just go do it. Well, even if it's to go like die, doesn't matter. Just get up and do it.
Excellent.
And be happy about it.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Sarah, for being a guest here today. I appreciate you sharing your insights and your journey and your story. It's been a delight talking to you. It's been an absolute pleasure chatting with you. Thank you so much for taking the time to be part of this. I appreciate it.
Of course, it was totally my pleasure.
Amazing. Well, once again, my name is Brad Welsh, host of the Empowerography Podcast. Today, my guest has been Sarah Oliphant. She is the owner and founder of Oliphant Studios in Brooklyn, New York. Thanks again so much, Sarah. I hope you have a wonderful day.
Bye.
Thank you very much for listening to this podcast. If you haven't yet, please be sure to subscribe, rate, review, and share with all your friends. You can find me at visuphoria.ca and follow me on Instagram at Empowerography Podcast and on Facebook at Empowerography. Please join me next time for another inspirational story from yet another amazing woman.